I still remember the cold wind that brushed my face the day we buried my husband. It felt like the world had turned silent, like someone had pressed pause on my entire life. I stood there holding a single white rose, trying to keep myself from falling apart. I thought losing him was the worst pain I would ever feel. But what I didn't know that day was that the real betrayal was waiting for me outside the cemetery gates. My husband, Armin, had always been my safe place. We met young, grew together, built our lives piece by piece. He wasn't perfect, but his heart was gentle. And when he promised me forever, I believed him. I lived in that promise. So when the disease took him away, I felt like someone had pulled the ground from under my feet. Our home, that small place we decorated together, the walls that carried our laughter, it became a memory I clung to just to breathe. After the funeral, people approached me with the usual soft voices. "Stay strong. He's in peace now. Time will heal you." I nodded at all of them because I had no strength to speak. But the moment I walked toward the parking area, everything changed. His family stood there. His father, strict and always distant. His step-siblings, who only visited on holidays. They were whispering among themselves until I reached them. Then my father-in-law stepped forward. "We need to talk," he said, not with sympathy, not with kindness, but with a tone that felt colder than the wind. I tried to stay calm. "Is something wrong?" He cleared his throat slowly. "Now that Armin is gone, his property reverts to the blood family." For a moment, I didn't understand. "What property?" He glanced at the house keys in my hand. "The home, the land, everything he owned." My heart tightened. "That's our home, mine and his." He shook his head. "You're not blood. Traditions matter. We'll give you some time to pack." And just like that, as if I were a guest who had overstayed, they turned their backs on me. I stood frozen. The finality in their voices felt sharper than the grief I carried inside me. I had lost my husband, and now they wanted to take the last piece of him away from me. But that day, I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I was too broken to speak. What I didn't know was that this moment was only the beginning of a deeper betrayal. And the plan they had went far beyond just taking a house. Mid-conflict and betrayal. The next morning, I walked into the house with heavy steps. Every corner whispered memories. His shoes still sat near the door. His favorite mug on the shelf. His jacket hanging on the chair. Everything reminded me of the life we built. I sat on the couch and cried until I felt empty. But as the hours passed, something inside me slowly shifted. I realized the house wasn't just property. It was the place where I poured my love, my time, my soul. I worked 2 jobs to help pay for it. I painted the walls. I planted the flowers. I lived every day trying to make it a home for both of us. And now they wanted to erase me from it. I decided I wouldn't leave without understanding my rights. So I started with Armin's documents, papers he kept neatly in a drawer in his small home office. As I opened one folder after another, I found something that made my breath stop. A recent will, signed just 3 months before he died. My hands shook as I read it. He had left everything to me. Not to his father. Not to his siblings. Not split between relatives. Only me. Tears filled my eyes. In his final months, when he was fighting pain every day, he still thought about protecting me. Keeping me safe. But then I noticed something odd. His father had already filed a claim with the local council saying there was no will and that he, as the blood parent, was the rightful heir. He had done it within 24 hours of the funeral. My grief turned into anger. They knew about the house. They knew about the assets. They knew I was vulnerable, drowning in pain. And they wanted to strike before I could stand up. A day later, his stepbrother showed up at my door. "We need to check the cupboards," he said, pushing himself inside. "For what?" "For valuables. Family valuables. Dad thinks you might hide something." His words cut me deeply. "Hide? I'm his wife." He shrugged. "Not anymore." That moment felt like something snapped inside me. Not anymore. After everything I gave. After years of love, sacrifice, care. They were treating me like I was nothing. I stayed silent, but my heart wasn't silent anymore. It was burning. That night, I made a decision. I would not let them steal what Armin wanted me to have. I would not let them paint me as a stranger in my own home. And I would expose their plan, with the truth they never expected me to find. Ending, revenge, climax and moral. 2 days later, I walked into the lawyer's office with the will in my hand. The document was clean, notarized, and legally sound. When the lawyer finished reading, he looked up with surprise. "This changes everything," he said. "They have no claim." His father had filed official papers, but those papers were based on a lie, the lie that Armin had died without leaving a will. The lawyer helped me submit the original will, along with proof of my contributions to the house. Within a week, a notice was sent to his father. They had to appear for a hearing. When they walked into the council hall, they looked confident, almost proud. His father smirked at me like he had already won. But the moment the officer placed the will on the table, his expression collapsed. "This is impossible," he muttered. "It's real," I said softly. "And you knew it existed." He stuttered. He never told me about this." "Maybe because he knew exactly what you would do," I replied. His step-siblings exchanged panicked looks. Their entire plan, to push me out, take the house, sell it for profit, it all fell apart right there. The officer cleared his throat. "According to this will, everything belongs to his wife. The case is closed." His father tried to protest, but the decision was final. When we walked out of the building, he looked at me with a mixture of anger and disbelief. "You're taking everything from us," he said. I shook my head gently. "No, I'm keeping what was already mine. What he wanted me to have." And for the first time since the funeral, I felt my heart steady. Not healed, not whole yet, but anchored. In the following days, they stopped calling, stopped visiting, stopped pretending they cared. Their silence felt like freedom. I went back to the house, my house, and sat on the same couch where I had cried after the funeral. But this time, I felt something different. Strength. Armin couldn't stay with me, but he had protected me in the best way he could. And I had honored his trust by protecting myself. The moral: sometimes betrayal comes not from strangers but from the people who expect your silence. And sometimes strength doesn't look loud or dramatic. It looks like standing firm when everyone pushes you to break. And in the end, truth is the strongest revenge of all.